Hi all and welcome back to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life story with Asperger's syndrome and the like. So if you're into some of these and more, feel free to follow me on my social media handles, as well as feeling free to subscribe to my channel, because I'm hoping to do this on the daily, as well as many other various topics and fun and games along the way, which I do it Monday to Friday, or sometimes time permitting it could only be 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So for many of you that be wondering, obviously this is going to be another topic, but this is going to be a different one. Obviously this one's going to be the life-changing and experiences of assistance dogs. And I want to challenge you guys, if you've got assistance dogs, how do you feel about them? You know, when you go out and about with your use of your assistance dogs, do you get looked upon and you feel that you're going to be judged or what have you? Feel free to share your life experiences with having an assistance dog, so that we can get to know you and actually hopefully understand more, because as I said, I'm all about educating, mentoring and advocating for others like me and outside on the spectrum. So as I said, you may have chances seeing some of the assistance dogs in action, regardless where they are at, you know, and it's more likely just off a guide dog, because it's done obvious when someone is blind, obviously, that they are walking around with a dog with a framework around them. So you may have already an idea on how they, you know, go about doing it for, you know, helping their partner in crime. Assistance dogs are varying kinds, no matter what breed they are and temperament. Basically, there are various kinds for different people with special needs, be it autistic, you know, be it also medical and mobility dogs that you may see. They're obviously trained to do specific tasks in their everyday life to help their companions to navigate the everyday world around them, to make life easier, hopefully, while navigating, regardless what it may be. You know, disabilities, however, are characterized by impairments that affect the individual's ability to cope or function in the everyday situations, regardless of what it may be. You know, as a clear example, as I said before, someone that is blind and needing that assistance by their companion, you know, man's best friend of their dog. In saying this, these might be characterized by certain impairments with communication skills, social interaction, or even just the presence of certain everyday behaviours that isn't, you know, normal or ordinary to us. However, assistance dogs can be life-changing for many individuals with disability, helping them to gain the confidence and achieve independence. The ways in which an assistant dog can assist their partner in crime, however, are only limited by our very own imagination. Some of this help maybe with assisting with balance, picking up dropped items on the floor, countering effects of anxiety, stress and other episodes, be it seizures, be it like meltdowns and whatnot, providing solace or peace with an accurate and palliative form of therapies, providing motivational aid and rehabilitation for therapies, reminding to take medication, etc, etc, the list goes on. There are many things that dogs can do, however, but there are also many things that they cannot. So before getting an assistance dog, we need to consider and make a list of the things we want out of a dog if we were needing one in requirement, what we want the dog to do for us. And as a keynote, I've noticed that many people will have varying ideas and opinions about assistance dogs, because many people may think, you know, just because someone's got a disability, they think that they're lazy and that they're just forcing the dog to do all the work. I've heard so many stories about certain people have been making these prejudgment calls, but hopefully in saying this will educate you all a bit more today and understanding that this is not the case. And saying this, before you get this assistance dog, be sure to write down some lists, you know, if they're reasonable enough, to the reasons to why you would love an assistance dog in your home. Some tasks may be basically easy to teach, others may find months of practice for an assistance dog. You know, some tasks that you might wish for may not be teachable to this dog. For example, a dog can't be expected to actively change your everyday emotions, thought patterns. For instance, when you're feeling really sad, a dog can't expect to just make you happy just like that, you know, except to the extent that it may have of this effect. It's not something for which they can be responsible for, or it's an unacceptable expectation from us. The task list should be talked over with family, friends, and a specialist dog assistance trainer. The people with whom you live with should or will be able to understand to have opinions about adding a dog for the household. Don't forever underestimate any resistance to having a dog in the home, as an assistant dog's lives with you 24/7. To do so, you may leave you and your dog open to very difficult situations though. So questions you may want to ask yourself in saying this though: is the dog for a child? Is there any other children who want to be involved with the dog? How will the dog fit in your everyday routines or schedule? Who will supervise the training if there's needing to some training to be built about for it? Who will be ultimately responsible for the dog? Allergies may also become an issue too, but this might be overcome by getting a hypoallergenic breed of a dog, unless the allergies are very severe, however, to that person. Again, friends may not understand why you are choosing to use an assistant dogs in the first place, instead of other assistive devices that are readily available for some of us to use, regardless what it may be. You know, example-wise, for someone who is blind, they could use a walking stick instead, or a braille. Friends may not want you to have the dog in their homes or even around them, so be sure to talk to them first and see, you know, what the effect it may have on your social life. Basically, you may decide that the benefits of using an assistant dogs are far more greater than keeping the friends who don't agree with your decision of having an assistant dog that's supposed to be there 24/7. But it's good to be aware of the potential implications and situations where you may end up losing your friends along the way. As we know, certain assistant dogs bring out attention or draws attention to just both of us, the dog handler and yourself. Basically, this can really change how people may perceive you and think about you in regards, as I said before. They may, you know, tend to think that we're lazy. They tend to maybe think we're cruel using the dog just to do the everyday work for us of what we solely rely on when the dog is already, you know, finished their training and doing what it needs to be. This can really change, especially when your disability maybe is invisible. Assistant dogs can be openly labelled as the partner as one with a disability. People who are not yet known to you as being disabled, or did not consciously consider you to be disabled, suddenly having it drawn to their own attention, and you may find that their perception of you changes when you get an assistance dog in your life. Members of the general public may want to stop and talk to you about your dog, and sometimes also about your disability if they're interested, and you know, why won't they? This can be constant and annoying sometimes. Sometimes some people may feel comfortable in doing so, but the choice is ours, you know. Small children will want to chase your dog and try to pet it or even hug it. If you have a large dog, small children may try to climb on it and ride it. Assistance dog is probably not a good option for someone that can't tolerate a lot of public attention though, however. If you like meeting new people, your dog can be a bonus and can give you many introductions, and sometimes it can be an icebreaker, sometimes maybe for people that, you know, are going on dates. Like any dog, they can be expensive. Medical emergencies may arise, and those can be very expensive. The cost of maintaining an assistance dog will vary from person to person, as well as wherever you're located around the world for service dogs, you know. And hopefully the cost of maintaining a assistant dog must be factored into your budget, regardless what it may be. It will cost maybe between $2 to $3 per day. In addition, there are health costs, which includes the regular grooming for every 3 months and the annual checkup with the vet. Then you've got further costs that may include, you know, buying leads, bedding, a surface coat jacket, grooming equipment, shampoo and council fees. You got to check with your local council, obviously, the regulations regarding the housing and keeping of dogs, because many councils obviously, you know, have certain restrictions, as well as, you know, here in New Zealand, sometimes if you need one in accommodation with you when you're living in a supported living environment, you know, on your own, hearsay. This doesn't need to be explored, particularly if you've already had other dogs, but then again, it always pays to ask. If lucky, dog will be a good worker for probably up to 8 to 10 years. On retirement, you must decide if you will keep the dog or find a new suitable retirement home for your dog. What will you do if the dog develops behaviour problems or health issues? You need to ask yourself, and must be retired early. Will you be able to be emotionally enjoy the eventual death of your dog if you get too close to your dog? These are the things you need to consider before you get the assistance of the dog, or any dog for that matter. Hearsay. There are two organisations in Victoria and Aussie that I've noticed, and they are, or there are more than that. There's one in Victoria and Australia wide that are assistant dog service providers, and they are two. Some are run by charitable, not for all profit organisations and rely purely upon the generosity of the community, and others are private enterprise run by a private provider where the client pays a fee for the service. A fully trained assistance dog will cost the ballpark of approximately $38,000 to train, and it can take up to 24 months to train them. The not-for-profit assistant dog organisations are in extremely high demand. However, there is a waiting list for up to 2 years or more. The organisations may train their own kennel dogs and provide full support to the clients during the partnership process are in the high demand. It's a new, less known concept, however, of using rescue animals or even a person's own pet dog if it should be, deemed suitable. This is more common, however, in America. There is one organisation in Victoria and one in Queensland that provides support to people wishing to go down this path. However, it's a viable path if you're willing to put many hard yards of training and reap the rewards with it. Right, there is obviously a service Assistance Dogs New Zealand Trust in New Zealand. I think from memory this is in Auckland. About this was founded in 2008 by a woman and a couple by the name of Julie and Rick Hancock when they left the field of a prominent service dog organisation. During Julie's career in this field, she came across people that had various disabilities that didn't receive the same access to service dogs. There was nowhere for people with disabilities with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy and diabetes to go to obtain assistance with their ability with legal public access rights. After being introduced to families bringing in dogs from the US to assist their children with autism spectrum disorders, Julie took on the challenge of creating an organisation in New Zealand in her own hands to cater for this gap in the community. Julie formulated her own dog training program, and with the assistance of Rick, who supported this dream, Assistance Dogs New Zealand now services 37 clients New Zealand wide, with a waiting list that is continuously growing beyond the capabilities of this unique and successful charitable organisation. This team continues to offer greater things to the communities through strong breeding stock, professional training and dog assessment programs, and a constantly high placement success rate. Without a doubt, the team are committed to their cause and work tirelessly to overcome the many obstacles that comes their way. Their vision, basically, in saying this, is to be the leading assistance dog provider in New Zealand. Their mission is to enrich the lives of people living with everyday disabilities, regardless what it may be, autism, Down syndrome and the like, by providing purpose-bred and trained assistance dogs to meet the unique needs of each individual client and their family. Values. They are committed in 1. Being professional in everything that they do. 2. Inclusive, by serving where possible where people with that form of disability. 3. Respectful of everyone that they deal with, including their clients, staff and the communities that they serve. 4. Being ethical and always acting with integrity. And 5. Being committed to the excellence and the quality of service that they will provide. Obviously, they provide services, and their services that they provide are as follows: breeding, active breeding stock, potential breeding stock, and retired breeding stock. So with the active breeding stock, obviously they're in the puppy stages development, and as I said, it takes a few months to train them up to be potential candidate for that person to go through. Potential, obviously, they've already finished their training, they're ready to go in a home of someone that is deemed suitable for the home with the person with that disability needs. And the retired one, obviously, for service dogs, if they do, as I said before, need to retire, they'll need to therefore go about their everyday life. So puppy development, obviously, that's just pure and simple. You know, every developmental stages as the puppy grows up, and in those stages they transition to certain bits that they'll, you know, stay with their mum for a certain time frame. Then they've got a age group where they interact with their peers in the group of the puppies. They'll interact with their, you know, brothers and sisters while they're, you know, still together. Then a certain part they'll end up leaving the mum and the litter to basically a certain age where people can start training them and whatnot and what have you. And the healthcare for their services throughout the lives of puppies, breeding stock and trained assistance dogs. There needs to be regular veterinary health care that is vital to their well-being and longevity, right? So every dog receives a regular veterinary health examination because they view the health and welfare of each dog as a high priority. This includes both physical and behavioural well-being. Dogs selected for the breeding program are usually fully screened to reduce any chances of any inherited abnormalities being passed to their progeny. Obviously, there's certain things that they need to bear in mind though. Most veterinary and surgical needs are met by Vet Oro Waikato, Vet Care Tauranga and Pet Doctors Howard, who provides a high quality and professional service and excellent care in New Zealand of their puppies and their dogs. Specialist orthopaedic and surgical service for more serious and complex cases are provided for the range of specialist veterinarians at the Veterinarian Services Group here in New Zealand, in Auckland especially. Specific reproductive services including fertilisation, evaluation, frozen semen and artificial insemination work is performed by MVS, Glenbred and Matamata in here in New Zealand, and ophthalmic examinations for the inherited eye disease or abnormalities that are usually supported in the Auckland Animal Eye Clinic. Dog training. ADNZ have a very comprehensive training program. Only dogs that successfully achieve this training process and standards that meets the temperamental analysis criteria are qualified as assistance dogs. Training as an assistant dog does take approximately, obviously in their case, 6 months, during which time the dogs receive assessment, basic obedience classes, social behaviour training, home behaviour training, and other specific task training that needs to be required so that they can obviously meet the needs of those people with different disabilities as mentioned. Each training session is recorded and each dog is evaluated and continued throughout the training period. Training increases in intensity and the difficulty according to the dog's individual temperament and behaviour and learning pace. Although there is an emphasis on training, the majority of time is spent on the downtime, where each dog is able to relax, have free reign of free running. They'll be able to play and interact with their peers, family members or staff. Obviously, basically, you may be wondering what their assistance dogs are trained to do. Obviously, they are trained to be well behaved, capable of working in a variety of different environments here in New Zealand. They are taught to 1. Behave in social situations, 2. Behave well in the home environment, 3. Recall promptly to the handler, 4. Basic obedience tasks to assist with ease of handling, 5. Walk calmly on the lead without any excessive tension or distraction, 6. Toilet on command. They are trained to based on each client's specific needs as mentioned relative to the type of impairment. They can be trained in the following areas. 1. Retrieve objects that are dropped. 2. Carry items that are required. 3. Deposit items in a correct place. 4. Tugging objects to move or open an item. 5. Nose nudging, pawing and distraction tasks. 6. Bracing and balance assistance. 7. Holding position to secure client in a safe place. 8. Locating objectives. 9. Pressure contact to provide comfort in a stressful or anxiety provoking situation. 10. Helping to locate a client who has wandered off. The access rights. In 2010, Assistance Dog New Zealand was granted full access under New Zealand legislation, allowing all ADNZ pups and dogs to travel in many public places. This will mean that an ADNZ staff member, volunteer or client have the right to take an ADNZ puppy or dog into public place, including supermarkets, shopping malls, and the like. They are also entitled to travel on all forms of public transport. Discrimination against persons relying on or training an assistance dog may be considered a breach of the Human Rights Act 1993 and or Dog Control Act of 1996. Dog adoptions. Not all pups or dogs are situated for the role of being an assistance dog. Each dog is evaluated in a variety of temperaments and behaviour traits. And if appropriate remedial action, there is no improvement, then the dog are deemed unsuitable. This doesn't mean it would not make a great family pet. It may be resigned service dogs to go on for greater animals in their own right. Some of the common reasons for a dog being seen as not suitable for assistance may include 1. Noise sensitivity and reactivity, 2. Vision suspicions, 3. Willingness and motivation, 4. Temperament, 5. Health. Client services. ADNZ focuses on providing a reliable, professional and individualised service to all clients in New Zealand. They value their feedback and work closely with extended families to ensure all factors are considered when providing their service. They obviously go through a process of this to understand each client's circumstance, in particular how their disability affects their daily living, what environment the dog will live in, where they will travel, and what support networks are available to that person with that disability needs. So they will conduct a thorough interview and assessment for each applicant, train the dog to suit their individual needs and circumstances, and then provide ongoing follow-up if need be to ensure the team to continue to work effectively over time. So the steps there is obviously interview and assessment, dog training, matching the team training, follow-up care. Well, this quickly ends basically a real short, hopefully brief information about the life-changing experiences and impact of assistance dogs. Smash the like button, comment below. I will link the website to this basically so that you can follow through of what I'm sharing with you all today, so that you can get a lowdown of what you can do with this. And all for the do, guys. Thanks for support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.